Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We've got another wave of changes coming for Dragonflight related to classes and related to PvP to cover in this video. This is going to be game-breaking changes that you're going to want to know about to stay ahead of the competition moving into the next expansion. And if you do want to make sure that you're staying up to date with changes and news and guides and entertainment related to World of Warcraft, I do recommend hitting the subscribe button, as I am trying my best to be an excellent resource for that reason, and do greatly appreciate your support in my long-term goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers. So thank you to those that have hit it, and even to those that haven't, that just like watching the videos. Thank you for tuning in. Now, this first major change and big discussion point is dampening. Dampening is now going to begin immediately in 3v3 arena at 10%, and it will continue to increase at the 3-minute mark down from the 5-minute mark. This is going to speed games up a lot, especially amongst a lot of the classes that have very powerful healing effects. Now, I think for a lot of people, they're going to view this as like a band-aid fix for lowering healing, and it does draw some concern, right? Because is this all we're going to see? Because there's been a lot of feedback towards classes that have huge percentage-based healing at the moment in Dragonflight, and you may see ongoing from a lot of other players and content creators that you watch as one of their major complaints. So is this all we're going to get in address to that? Are those classes still going to remain as powerful? Are we going to get this and the healing reduction? What's going to be going on? But this is something that you're definitely going to need to be aware of. And interestingly enough, they are also addressing the pre-patch with this change. They've now introduced the deserter penalty of a greater degree for leaving a solo queue match, which I'm sure we've already seen a lot of people griefing, and it's very annoying. I feel like when the rating is actually more impact on the players and they're trying to get their current gear and stuff like that, it might be a bigger deal later on, but I don't even know if this will be enough. You're going to lose 150 rating down up from 100 if you leave. Prop paladins are being reclassified as healers, so they're going to be you'll have a prop paladin as a healer instead of one of the other healing specializations, and the other tank specializations are now classified as damage dealers with a maximum of 1 tank damage dealer permitted in the match. And I'm sure we've seen a lot of Guardian Druids. One of the things that I scrolled through here on some of the other changes that really popped out to me was this like maul damage getting buffed by 40%, mangle damage getting buffed by 15%, like a bunch of Guardian Druid buffs. And this is mostly for Mythic Plus or PvE. Because Guardian Druids have kind of been, left in the rubble in PvE, but like that is going to have huge implications on them in PvP and kind of being maybe a problem area. So they do say that we will be looking closely at and actively tuning tank abilities in PvP, specifically around how they fit in solo shuffle. So they're going to keep their eyes on it. Hopefully this isn't just going to be the only thing we get, although I do think that this is a good starting point. This will still likely need to happen for a lot of specialization, so hopefully it does. They've fixed a bug issue with precognition properly triggering on certain interrupts, and now we're getting into the changes. So with these changes, they're undoing a lot of PvP changes that they've made in the past that are maybe now no longer, they're nonsensical now with how the game is. So for Druid, regrowth initial heal is no longer reduced by 15% in PvP combat. This is a massive buff to Feral Druids, Resto Druids with Nature Swiftness. Balanced Druid situationally doesn't really use regrowth a lot, and Guardian Druid pretty much almost never uses it, so not a big deal there, but really big for Feral and Nature Swiftness for Resto Druid. And now for Hunter, Kill Command no longer deals 15% reduced damage in PvP. Hunters, you are pretty happy about this, at least to those that can use Kill Command. This is going to be really juicy for Beast Mastery. Marksmanship Hunter, aim shot no longer deals 15% increase. They're actually getting nerfed by 15% damage on your aim shot, and you're getting nerfed 10% damage on your rapid fire, so it kind of feels bad moment for marksman. For Arcane, we're seeing Arcane missiles getting nerfed. It's going to be dealing 15% less damage. That's another ouch. For fire, your meteor is going back to 100% effectiveness, although you can get meteor as any spec of mage, so every mage meteor is getting 20% better. Fireball is getting nerfed, and fireball is getting nerfed. That doesn't make much sense, but it looks like it's getting nerfed. Pyroblast is getting buffed by 15%. So your combustion damage is going up, sustained damage going down. Don't really like the direction of that. For Frost Mage, your Ice Lance is no longer dealing 15% increased damage. So you're 15% nerf to Ice Lance, 10% nerf to Comet Storm. Ouch, Frost Mages. I felt like you guys were already kind of getting it. This is kind of not so good for you. For Mistweaver Monk, we are going to see Enveloping Mist getting nerfed, or no longer heals. Yeah, getting nerfed. Vivify, this is such a weird way of wording this. No longer heals for an additional 10%. So Mistweaver getting a nerf. Honestly, I feel like Mistweaver, maybe not so much in the pre-patch, but in Dragonflight specifically, is like one of the best healers. So this actually does make sense if you were applying it to how you're like the Shadowlands brain, you'd be looking at this like what's going on. But actually in Dragonflight, I think this actually does make sense. For Paladin, Aura of Reckoning now increases the damage of your judgment by 100%, down from 200%. That's a really big nerf. Fixed an issue that allowed Vengeance Aura to be triggered by allies that were not in your aura. Okay. Retribution, Radiant Decree is now 100% effective in PvP combat, up from 68%. Gonna need some people in the comments to let me know what Radiant Decree is here. Is that the AoE circle on the ground that buffs your holy damage? Is this like the wings damage that procs, your holy damage that procs during wings? I'm not 100% sure, but that's a pretty big buff to whatever it is. So if it is something, it'd be interesting. Divine Storm is going to be doing 10% more damage, so possibly the projection Divine Storm builds getting a little bit more viability here with this. And Powered Shield is getting nerfed on priests. It was very powerful for discipline, and especially with like Void Shield. I've seen a lot of priests running into Void Shield now in PvP at least, and able to do damage and stack up this shield. So I'm not really surprised. Renew is now going to get nerfed by 15%. And I'm assuming this Renew is for every spec, right? And Renew is already maybe not that great other than an Atonement application on disc. I feel like Holy Priest, I mean, in pre-patch, I think Holy Priest is all right, but in actual Dragonflight with the meta that's starting to unfold, I'm not sure how great it's going to be. Kind of a rough nerf for you. Vampiric Touch is getting nerfed 10% for Shadow. Again, these are all just undoing previous changes. Not a real feels good moment for Shadow Priest, though. Outlaw Rogue, Between the Eyes, is going to get buffed by 9%. For Subtlety, we're seeing a 10% buff to Eviscerate. So some pretty big buffs here for Rogue. For Restoration, oh, you getting a massive fat Riptide buff, and Resto Shaman just got a bunch of changes to it as well for PvE that buffed its damage. Feels good to be a Resto Shaman here. And now we get to the thing that we were really hoping we would see here. Warlocks. Dark Pact is nerfed 20%, and Corruption is no longer buffed 45%. This could be insane. Agony got a 15% nerf. Corruption got a 15% nerf on top of that. Siphon Life is a 15% nerf. Shadow Bolt is a 10% nerf. Unstable Affliction's a 15% nerf. Oh my god, this is another wave of... I don't know how I feel about the damage nerfs. I think letting Affliction be this high damage spec glass cannon that needs to like avoid attackers is really cool, but taking their damage down so they're completely unviable might be a bit of an overstep. This is the dangers of your class being good in the earlier stages of the expansion. This is my warning to you, okay? You don't want to be happy if I'm pumping a tier list out and you're seeing somebody say that a spec is good. You should be scared that your class is the best right now, because all eyes on you, right? Like, I'm sure a bunch of people are like, yes, Warlocks are finally down, but now they're probably down so bad we're not going to see them for like 2 patches or something. That's rough. For Warrior, Overpower is getting buffed and Execute's getting buffed. I think this makes sense for Arms Warrior. It's really not good at the moment, so buffs to Arms Warrior feels pretty good there. Might have been an over nerf. I don't know where the Guardian Druid nerfs are. They said they're keeping an eye on the tanks, and maybe they want to see how it plays out with them as a DPS if it's still a problem. I think Bear Druid spinning around doing 3 times everyone's damage and being invincible is a problem enough regardless of the format for them as a tank. So I was a bit surprised to not see that, and they actually got buffed as we covered in the other changes. So interesting changes to look at here. May start to shift stuff. We do have a big PvP test going on this weekend, so if you want to make sure you're staying up to date with what's going on with the classes, what's looking good, again, do hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to be a great resource for you to stay up to date with everything that's going on. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one.